back to the channel. Today we're going to be checking out how to build a medieval castle. Obviously, we've never done it. We don't know a lot about castles, and we're interested in learning more about castles. So what better way to start than how to build one?
Yes, I know nothing about this topic, but quite a few people have asked us to check out something similar to this for quite some time now. Thought we'd go ahead and check it out. I think this would be very interesting, especially for me because I kind of love building, architecture, that type of thing. It's something that I've kind of come to love over this journey over the last few years. And so, yeah, really interested to check this out.
Are you ready?
Yeah, ready.
Let's do it.
I don't have anything to add. Can you believe it?
For once.
Yeah, I usually talk everybody's ears off, but I don't have anything to add on this. Let's go ahead and jump in here and check out how to build a medieval castle. Man, that'd be some hard work.
Yeah, it would. You'd be sore.
Certainly never thought I'd end up in a quarry for Europe to the max. But here, dozens of craftsmen and workers are building a castle from the Middle Ages.
Oh my goodness.
Blacksmiths, stone crushers, carpenters, stonemasons, rope makers, bricklayers. And
Wow.
That is a lot of
using
work.
the materials and technology from that era. And today, I'm one of them, building a castle.
That is so cool.
Okay, that is.
Sorry, we double pause.
Yeah, that's really
I
cool.
am in awe. It literally looks like I would be convinced that it was from that time period.
I would too. I'd convinced this was like
Not that I
1,000,
know a lot about it,
1,500
but-
years old. This looks incredible.
Wow.
So this is actually a modern structure that they built to be like.
To look like it was from that time period, yeah.
And they're literally using the same tools and the same back-breaking work
techniques
that they would have used back then. That's incredible, guys. Did you see how hard he was having to hit those stones? Mm-hmm. Can you imagine doing that all day long? That'd be incredible.
That would hurt. Like it just, my jaw hurts just from like thinking about
like
aftershocks.
I've done some of that. I've used a sledgehammer before. Not for like all day or anything like that, but just a short period of time, and it is back-breaking
Hard
labor.
work.
And if you've ever used an axe hitting against wood, you'll understand how that reverberates and how that feels,
and
right?
on stone.
On stone, that would be just crazy.
I wonder how long it's taken them to get to this point. Hopefully they talk about it.
Yeah, I hope so.
The Château de Guédelon is Europe's biggest medieval castle reconstruction project. It's located about 200 kilometers south of Paris, France, near the village of Trény in the Burgundy region. The idea is to reproduce a slice of life in the 13th century.
13th century, okay.
The castle never actually existed before. This is a modern-day medieval-style building on a 70,000 square meter site. The plan took shape in the mid-1990s.
Oh, wow.
A group of architects, historians and archaeologists came together to find out what building a real castle in the Middle Ages involved. They raised the needed funds and began. Marilyn Martin has supervised the project since the first stone was laid in 1997.
Holy.
It's a castle in the style
Wow.
of King Philip Augustus of France, like the Louvre in Paris. It has a tower for the lords of the castle, a living area and several turrets. The castle is designed so it's very difficult to attack and conquer it. It's a small castle, and the social status of its owner would be relatively low. Altogether, including the family, the staff, and the soldiers, no more than 15 to 20 people would have lived here.
About 40 craftsmen work here from spring till fall. Another 30
40.
employees take care of the administration.
Dude, this is crazy, man.
Since 1997.
It's a bit like an orchestra with many different instruments. Every craftsman is important.
Look at that.
Everyone is needed every day to build this castle.
This is amazing.
And anyone can join in, even me.
Every year, 600 volunteers
I'd take part in
come
that.
along to help out.
600
And
volunteers.
today, I'm one of them.
I can't show up dressed like this, of course. That's better.
I wonder if they give you the
Now I'm ready
clothes
for
to
my
wear.
first assignment in the quarry. Castles were generally built right near a quarry. So
That
the
makes
distance
sense.
that the heavy
Oh,
stone had
yeah,
to be
that's smart.
transported would be as short as possible. This is hard labor, especially for me, obviously.
Ooh.
I bet
He'd
that
at least
happened
wear gloves.
very quickly.
Don't
Yeah.
just randomly break.
You can't wear gloves. They're trying to replicate
That's
not only the building but the
true.
experience.
But I'm
itself.
saying for volunteers who aren't doing this day in and day out, you know, they don't have the blisters, calluses built up.
Yeah, but I'm guessing that people that would want to take part in volunteering
Want
with
the
this
real-
would want the real experience
Yeah,
of saying,
true.
I helped build this medieval castle the way it was built
Yeah.
back then.
Very true.
You know, it's just like, this is mind blowing. They've been working on this for, I mean, what, decades, I guess, at this
You don't
point.
think they had gloves back then? You don't think?
I mean,
had
they
gloves?
probably had some sort of glove you
Like
could,
animal hide
but I'm
gloves.
guessing not everybody would have access. They would have a bunch of them laying around, you know.
Yeah.
Everything like that, all these different tools and materials and even gloves would
Mm-hmm.
probably, you know, be much harder to come by than they would today, I'm
it was
sure.
more time consuming to create them. and-
Right.
Yeah.
Pick up rocks here. They cut them into specific shapes and sizes. Töndra Schroven shows me how to do it.
So I just put it in the middle, and I want 2 equal blocks. So I just put it in the middle, and it's going to split in this direction. So we have these iron leaves that we're going to place against the sides, and it's going to hold the iron wedge. And it's the iron wedge who's going to split the stone.
With a few pointers, it's not all that hard.
That is amazing.
That's it?
Wow.
Now the stone blocks go to the stonemasons, one after another on wooden carts.
Wow. With wooden wheels.
I love it. This is really cool.
That is really cool.
The stonemasons have to get the blocks in shape. I have to get myself in shape with a couple of dry runs. Aline Meunier uses a wooden stencil to show me what the stone is supposed to look like when I'm done.
Oh, the edging,
Oh, wow.
so that they're all even.
Lift the chisel a bit, just like that.
So if I imagine I need to work on thousands of stones here, it's just impossible. It's so exhausting, and you need so much patience here.
And the bad thing about this is you don't want to over
Oh, man.
do it, because then your whole
Then your whole stone
Stone
is
is
done with. You
ruined.
can't do anything to fix
once
it at that
you've
point.
overdone it.
I'm curious, guys. So, like, they've been working on this obviously for decades. How long back in the day did it take them to make a castle this size?
Yeah, I'm wondering that too.
Like,
and how many people worked on it?
Right, considering like, you know, they're using basically the same tools
Techniques.
and techniques they would have used. But my question is, would they have been more experienced in this type of thing to the point that they would have been able to do
Much
it
more
faster?
efficient.
More efficient. Of course, I guess the people who are doing this every year would get very
Yeah, they
efficient
would
at
get
this.
very skilled at it.
So I guess it wouldn't be any different, honestly. So I guess you're literally saying a castle like this would have took them like decades to build.
That's crazy.
That is crazy.
Nowadays, we use different tools because stuff needs to get done faster. And that's the only difference. Here I work on the stone with my hands, not with a machine. We've got the time for it, and the time to show and explain it to the children and adults. But the love for the stone is the same. I just express it differently here.
2 hours later, one stone block has been dressed.
2 hours.
Now we can mark this stone. It's done. I mark every stone with my own symbol, my mason's mark, as proof of my work. In the Middle Ages, we'd be paid for every single stone.
I wonder how much they were paid.
I mark my stone with a DW, of course, for Deutsche Welle.
Next year, we'll use it in that tower. It'll go into the last row of stones.
Next
Now
year?
you've helped build it. Deutsche Welle will be represented in this castle forever.
Various guilds have set up shop around the site. It runs almost entirely autonomous. All the materials and tools are produced on site. The carpenters cut the wood into beams, tools and scaffolding. Even the baskets are woven on site. Pigments are made from earth and various rocks to mix the paints used on the walls and textiles.
This is incredible.
The amount of detail is
Yeah.
awesome.
Wood
It
from
is.
the surrounding forest is used to make the roof shingles. A blacksmith forges the nails, hinges, and
My
fine
goodness,
tools.
are you serious? Wow.
The Guédelon construction site has turned into a tourist attraction.
I bet. I would like to go there.
Yeah, I'd visit.
About
I'd work on it.
300,000 people visit annually. Revenues from admissions finance the project as a whole.
It's fascinating, and I admire the patience they muster in building the castle.
It's interesting to see how things are made the medieval way, with simple means. Today, everything's automated, and we've lost quite a lot of knowledge that way.
Yeah, very much so.
So,
I found that pretty fascinating how it fits together from the small piece to end up being the large scale product.
Now I head over to see the masons, but before the stones can be placed, they have to be hoisted up onto the tower. So I have to get into the tower.
oh, that's how they did the pulley.
I was wondering. I was like,
Like
that's
a
going to be heavy.
hamster wheel.
Yeah.
That's cool.
This
Ooh,
is how
you
they
wouldn't wanna
lifted
drop
heavy
it.
loads in the Middle Ages.
That's so cool, man. What an easier way to do it, like compared to just
Much more
pulling.
efficient.
Craftsmen have revived many long-forgotten techniques. Workers like Mike Monfort are here to learn how to use the methods and materials of the period, but not to imitate the way of life of the Middle Ages. Among the winners here is science. Historians gain a better idea of how certain work was done back then. In the Middle Ages, craftsmen were held in high regard. They were the ones who passed on the skills and knowledge.
I became a mason here just by chance. I was a graphic artist in Paris for 20 years.
Wow, that's a
Watching
different.
a film about Guédelon, I said to myself, that's what I have to do. This is important. This is our cultural heritage. So from one day to the next, I decided to change professions. I slogged away
Good
here
for
for 3
him.
years, and now here I am, finishing this castle. What I'm doing here is for eternity.
Parts of the castle have already been completed. The residential chambers give some idea how the lord of the castle
That's
and his
beautiful.
family and staff would have lived here.
Okay, so I'm curious. Did they? I guess they did. They made the glass for the windows on site. I bet.
Really?
I mean, they're saying they're making everything else, even the nails. So I'm assuming, like imagine.
I love unique windows.
Yes,
and
I do too.
doorways. Oh,
Yeah, it's one of my favorites.
yeah.
But one thing I was curious about also is they were making the roof shingles.
With the wood.
And I noticed that some of the roof shingles above I forgot what you call them, those little round parts.
The turret?
Yeah. Those roof shingles were colored like red or something. I'm wondering if they painted them.
Maybe like treated it with something to keep
Yeah.
it from rotting.
Well, it doesn't seem like the rest of the shingles were like that. Only the ones around the turrets to make them a different color.
Or maybe they were fresher, like newer and not
Different
as
type of wood,
aged.
maybe. I don't know. Maybe it kind of looked like cedar, so maybe that's what it was.
An end to the construction work is nowhere in sight. For the workers in Guédelon, the journey is the reward.
That is so cute. The benches by
Yeah, I
the
like that. That's
window.
cool.
The castle belongs to us all. That's my message. Come and you can be stonemasons. You can see the beautiful roof timbering in the murals. We all feel the same thrill when we see something beautiful. And that beauty is not reserved for an elite alone. We're building this beauty with our hands, our heads, and our hearts.
I still got a bit of building to do with my hands, head and heart as well. I'm heading up to the heights and help to
Yeah,
tie
see
the
those
roof
shingles?
of the chapel
I
tower.
think those
Those were what I was talking about.
Locally fired tiles, of course.
Oh, those are
Those are
tiles.
ceramic or pottery or something.
That's
They're
what it
not-
is. Wow.
or clay, maybe.
That's crazy. They're just kind of
Fitting them in.
Fit it in there.
Choose not to use modern technology, but I'm really impressed by the people of Guédelon with their passion and enthusiasm for this project.
What do you think about the Guédelon Castle project? Is it genius or madness?
I like it.
I think it's amazing.
I think it's
I'm
beautiful.
all for relearning forgotten techniques of the past.
Yes.
If for no other reason than just to connect with your ancestry and
Yes, absolutely. And we've talked about this not on the level of many, many centuries ago, but we've talked about how, like, even in relatively modern times, things that our great-grandmothers knew, we in our generation have long forgotten because there was some sort of disconnect in the past couple of generations where they no longer taught
it wasn't needed
the knowledge.
as much.
Right.
So people just were like, oh.
But there was that disconnect there. They didn't feel the need. They didn't feel that it was needed to teach this stuff any longer. And so all of a sudden, the modern generation, the youngest generations of today, no longer have those skills that everyone pretty much knew 2 to 3 generations ago.
But I do feel like our generation, at least here in the U.S., I don't know about
are taking it back a little bit
in Europe, but yeah, I feel like we weren't taught this from our family like we should have been, but we're seeking out the knowledge and reconnecting with it.
I do feel like there's something about that.
With the whole homesteading thing, which is what we want to do eventually.
Yeah, and canning and growing your own food, which I know how to do that. But, like, you know, there's so many things that go along with that, but building your own structures and everything like that. I find that stuff interesting. And it is something that I definitely think younger generations are starting to gravitate towards because they've realized, okay, the technology's taken us to a certain level and we're like, okay, we're kind of forgetting what it means to be human on the ground with our hands and nature and everything.
Nature and immersed in that. Even like herbalism and stuff.
Yeah.
Apothecary. Yeah. I love that.
Yeah, I like all that stuff too. That's obviously not quite what we're looking at here, but just kind of But I absolutely think this is amazing. You know, it's obviously taking decades, and I'm really curious to find out when or if this castle has now been completed. Considering that they started in 97, it was still being worked on here. I'm guessing they're probably still going on. Let us know in the comments, guys, if you visited this place or how close it is to being completed. I would love to visit this place one day. It looks amazing. I mean, if I came across this in the woods, I'd be like, oh my goodness, how old is this place?
I think the main thing that would give it away for the age is the color of the stone hasn't been aged.
That's
like
true.
You know how castles over time they get like the dark gray. Like
they haven't been weathered. You're right. But if I wasn't thinking about it, I would just like the build of it itself. Obviously, looks like what they are trying to get it to look like. It looks like it's from that time period.
That's awesome.
Anyways, guys, enough rambling from us. Thank you so much for stopping by. Please hit that like button. Feel free to drop your comments or suggestions about this video or others. And don't forget to subscribe. We're almost to 100,000 subscribers. So we'd absolutely appreciate you joining us on this journey. But I think that's it for today. Until next time, peace.
Bye.